Hello and welcome to the Learn How to See Better podcast, the only podcast out there known to actually improve your vision the longer you listen. This is your host, Drew Davis, and I'm glad you've joined me here today. I can't wait to share some great information with you about how to improve your health, wealth, and relationships. So let's get right down to it, shall we? Hello and welcome back to the Learn How to See Better podcast. This is your host, Drew Davis, and I'm really looking forward to talking about today's episode on reflection. As you are probably aware, hopefully you're aware if you've been tuning in these last couple of episodes with Learn How to See Better, one of the things that I want to do is take you through the steps and kind of the how-tos, how you could actually learn how to see better. It's kind of a catchy title, but if you really think about it, to learn how to see better, to enhance your ability to kind of go through this world and have an optimal experience, going to be based on a few different elements to learn how to see better: vision, reflection, introspection, redirection, and expansion. So last episode, we were talking about vision. This one, I want to share a little bit more about reflection, because you can always reflect, and we all have a memory. So we all have the ability to take a moment to look back into the past at something that just happened, an event, an activity, something that you've just gone through, and really kind of take it apart and just see, what happened, not just the what, but the understanding, what led up to it, kind of the cause and the effect. And so the thing that's so powerful about reflection is it helps you to see better, because if something happened to you very quickly, let's say, and you didn't realize what just took place, it would be helpful to kind of review those steps to take a look at what were the series of events that led up to this event. Whether it was good or bad, you want to know, why is it that this event happened the way it did. As a matter of fact, I think we can all think back to any kind of sports movie or a scenario where you might have played sports growing up or knew someone playing sports growing up, and you'd hear about their lucky T-shirt, right, or the lucky towel, or they might have had some T-shirt on under their shoulder pads before they won the state championship game, and they don't want to wash the shirt again to the next year. Until they win the next championship. And that sounds really gross, but it's part of the tradition and rituals that can come up that can be a result of reflection, because it's as simple as looking back on a time to say, well, what did we do to, get this big win? And if it's something as simple as we all wore this, particular type of cotton T-shirt under our pads and we won, that's giving you insight on how to look ahead at the world. Now, that's probably not the best example, but the point being that with reflection, it can be one of the best places to start, because you don't need any unique skills. As long as you have a memory, you can participate in the act of reflecting. All you really have to do is just kind of open your eyes and pay attention to the feedback that you're already receiving from the universe. Okay? You will get feedback from the universe whether you like it or not. You walk outside your door and go up to the first person you see and start yelling some kind of crazy talk in their face, you're going to get some feedback from the universe on how that negative energy that you're putting out is going to kind of come back at you. But when you really think about it, it's almost like most people are kind of going through life as though it's a movie, but just watching it. But you could be on the other side of that where you're recording it, right? What did you do? Kind of review that. What did you learn? Study what you reviewed, right? What did you teach? Who did you give something to? How did you help someone else? Right? These simple questions, if you want to have good answers to questions like this, right? What steps did you take towards your goals? How are you going to make tomorrow better than you made today? Did you do everything that you set out to do? These are questions that if they're not as simple as a yes or no. If you didn't set out to do what you wanted to do that day, well, why not? What happened? What got in the way? What took place that prevented it? Because you can record your life. You can review it and study it and understand, how you played and what happened. And did everything go the way you thought? Who'd you see? What'd you say? And where'd you go? Right? So, how can this be translated into value? Well, each of these observations is going to paint a picture. It's your recording of the moment to really lock it down. If you go back and and study something that took place in your life and review it step by step, almost like watching it in slow motion, you can almost see it differently because it becomes very clear what has led up to the event that was just experienced. So uh, I think that's going to make a big deal. That's going to make a very big deal. And so when you learn how to take the time to reflect, I mean, this is a little bit different than meditation, which goes a level deeper. But reflection is very simple, not necessarily easy. You just got to take the time to kind of focus and place effort behind reviewing a segment of time in your world that you can look to translate into something meaningful. What do you take from the certain experiences you have? We've all had positive and negative experiences. What was the last time you ended up in tears? What took place? Understand why you reacted the way you did. Was it something that you could have controlled, or was it something that, was outside of your control? If it's something you control, maybe there's something that could be done to prevent it. Did you say something you shouldn't have that caused those tears for you or another? Could you have thought about a different way to deliver that message, right? These are simple things that your experiences will teach you, especially your experiences have a magnitude of impact, right? Somebody hurts you, somebody does you wrong, you're going to remember all the details, and you're probably reflecting on negative experiences right now, right? Even just hearing me bring that up, you might have someone come to mind. But the same way, it's important to reflect on the positive things that happen in our life as well, because we want positivity in the replay of those events. So it's a good habit that's worthy of building, because it's in a way it's already serving you, right? So give it a shot. If you don't believe me, give it a shot. You can take a time at the end of the day. You can take a few minutes at the end of the day to kind of run the tapes on what'd you see, who'd you talk to, where'd you go, right? And you'll be able to kind of figure out, all right, well, I went here and did that, and then I went over here and went there and talked with these people, and whatever the case may be. It might seem very rudimentary at first, but what if you didn't go everywhere you planned to go? How does that impact your world? Is that just something you have to do tomorrow? Or do you suffer some sort of penalty or consequence? Same goes for, the people that you interact with. Did you spend time with people that are uplifting, or did you spend time with people that maybe don't bring out the best in you, or even tear you down, right? When you have a track record, what if you took some time at the end of the week, right? Could you do that? Could you take 30 minutes at the end of the week to just reflect? What'd you do at a high level each day? Just a quick recap. What were your accomplishments? What did you set out to do that went great? What did you set out to do that didn't go so great? What did you intend to set out to do and not have end up great because you didn't actually set out and do it like you said you would? These are questions that force us to be honest with ourselves. I think because when you look at the past, it's just a series of events. I heard a quote once that said that the faintest pencil is stronger than the, strongest memory, or something like that. I just messed that up, but you get the idea. If you can capture it, even just capture it in a portion, snippets of a great idea, even if you can't remember that powerful dream that woke you up in the middle of the night and blessed you with some powerful idea, even if you can't remember all the details, grab what you can, because you could probably build on that at some point and have that idea turn into something great. So reflect a little bit more on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis. I mean, at the end of the year, there's only a couple of weeks left. Once we get past Thanksgiving, the year's pretty much done. Everybody's checking out. But mid-December, between Christmas and New Year's, can be a great time to take some days and really analyze what you went through the course of the year. Have you grown? Are you becoming more the person that you want to be? Or do you have some setbacks that have thrown you off course? Because in all reality, if you got the right attitude and this tunnels back into your vision, a setback can be a setup for a comeback. It's all how you look at it and keep your mind in motion and keep moving forward. So it's important to recognize, to have a way to tabulate your wins and losses, because assuming you're a goal oriented person, you need to keep track of that stuff, right? Because it's the successes that are going to fuel you. And some people are fueled by the haters, right? So no matter which side of the coin it's coming from, you ought to have something to pick you up, get you going, and really drive you to be your best. And I'd be willing to bet that you probably have accumulated quite a few eye-opening life lessons that are full of value that you can invest into your future. So I would sum it up as simple as this and say that proper reflection will correct your direction. Okay? Proper reflection will correct your direction. Okay? Let's take another sports example to look at. I enjoy watching football, so I'm going to use a football analogy. You've heard the phrase a Monday morning quarterback. A Monday morning quarterback. Everybody knows the big game's played on Sunday, right? Where'd that term actually come from? Why is it so commonly used? Well, a Monday morning quarterback, if you're not familiar with the term, it's the term used to describe somebody, probably standing at the water cooler at 10 o'clock on, Monday, not getting their work done, talking about the game and saying what should have happened in the game for the team that lost, let's say. You're the Monday morning quarterback because now you're talking about all the things you would have done differently and all the times you wouldn't have got sacked because you would have called this audible or did that or handed off to the left instead of whatever. But it's used because it's a form of reflecting on what went wrong. And now that you see the world through a better vision, right? You're reflecting on the event and you're taking from that experience. And now you are a Monday morning quarterback. Hindsight's 2020. You've heard that phrase as well. Hindsight is 2020. So by reflecting, we can see clear. How about take that for a concept? By reflecting, we're able to see more clearly. Okay, so that's just another example of how reflection can be a powerful tool in your arsenal when you are looking to grow. And if you can really start to look at your life and throughout your experience and keep looking at, a series of reflections, how powerful is that for you to be able to use in your quest for greatness? I'll tell you, I've been able to use reflections to learn and get greater insight to my physical health. I've been able to use the power of reflections to learn how to see better in the areas of love and relationships. I mean, the list goes on. I've used it in learning a new skill, going back and studying what was done, recording your performance, right? It could be used in sports. Let's say you run the tapes, the week after, a couple days after the game and the next day after the game, whatever the case may be, you're reflecting on that performance, right? And unless some of you want to answer this next question of who's your harshest critic, some might say your spouse, some might say your boss, but the rest of us are going to say, oh, it's me. I'm my own harshest critic. So really, who's the one that's going to see what you could have did better? Who's the one that's going to be able to really study your results and, make the improvements needed to have a positive impact, or recognize the errors in your judgment to make a positive impact, right? So there's no one better equipped than you to make the activity corrections during the course of the year that are really going to start to add up and put the compound effect into action. Okay. So I think it goes without saying that once you make a habit of doing these things over and over and over again, whether it's a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, fine, start where you are, right? Sometimes you get to midday, your day's been so hectic. What in the world just happened this morning? Taking a quick 30 seconds or 2 minutes to reflect on the morning can reset you for the second half of the day, right? Back to sports, that's why they call it halftime. It's a period for them to be able to reflect, make adjustments. What the coach tell those boys at halftime? They came out on fire, right? They did some reflection, and that's what enabled the corrections to be made. Like I said, proper reflection will correct your direction. So what you're going to find at the end of the day is a series of patterns that begin to emerge that are a direct result of you taking the time to reflect. What are you executing on? What are the areas you're struggling in? If you continue to just look at the stats, the results, that's going to be the indicator. The results tell the story, okay? And so if you use the results to reflect on what delivered those results, you'll be in a better position. You'll have the better visibility into how you can do different things and make minor corrections in your daily activities to get you back on track to where you want to go. So this is, again, one of the easiest places to start. Doesn't require any skill and can be done every day, throughout the day, periodically. And I think that for anyone out there trying to just gain greater understanding, like, I don't know what to do next, or if you've tried meditating and struggled with that, this would be like meditation on training wheels, right? Take the time to just be able to call a quick timeout and to pause and say, what in the world just happened, right? Have the maturity to say, okay, what's going on right now? What is the scenario I've created? What am I experiencing, feeling, and thinking right now? What's led up to it that's got my vibration off, right? Get your vibration back on track so you can vibrate at your best frequency. All right, so with that, I think we'll go ahead and close this one out. That is one I would love to hear about you all taking the time to do and sharing what you learn. That would be great. So give me some feedback on that. And until next time, when we get into the next topic in this series, I wish you luck, success, and a good night's rest. Thanks. Take care. Well, all right. That was some great content, wasn't it? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you liked it. This is your host, Drew Davis, and I want to thank you for listening to the Learn How to See Better podcast today. And don't forget to subscribe and tune in for future episodes, and be sure to share with a friend if you are enjoying this content. Thanks, and see you next time.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.